Would you believe me if I said that Grampy, the friendly old man you meet in the outdoors, is the main villain of Doors? No, that's utterly ridiculous. How could this nice old man be anything less than good? He even gives us a free revive in the form of a lotus if we give him 8 lotus petals completely for free. There's no way he could be evil, right? Well, knowingly or not, Grampy has set off a chain reaction that will eventually result in the entire destruction of the Doors world. And what's even worse is that you, yes you the player, are helping him do it. I am being completely serious when I say Grampy is one of the greatest threats in the entire game. Not because he is directly harmful, but because his actions will eventually result in the very thing he is trying to stop, taking over the entire world. We have got a lot to discuss in this video about Grampy's betrayal of everything he's ever held dear. So, with all of that being said, let's begin. Now, of course, this wouldn't be a classic Cheddarballs Theory video without a rundown of who Grampy is, so let's start with that. Grampy is a friendly NPC you can find at the mill in the outdoors, one of the final rooms you access before completing the subfloor. He is similar to El Goblino, where he is primarily just talking to the player, offering tips as well as little bits about the lore of the subfloor. However, unlike El Goblino, his dialogue isn't his only function, as he can actually give you a very powerful item called a lotus. Essentially, throughout the outdoors you can find these lotus petal items, and if you collect 8 and bring them to Grampy, he'll craft them into a lotus flower, which you can use. The lotus acts as a free revive, although it works a little differently. The item can be placed practically anywhere on any floor, and the next time you die you can respawn where it was placed. It seems really useful at first, and it is. However, there is a massive drawback, at least lore-wise, for placing and utilizing these lotus flowers. When a lotus is first placed down, it is relatively small in size. However, when it is used to revive a player, it grows exponentially, becoming so large it can crack and even fracture rooms, exposing them to the open vacuum outside. Now, this is obviously very bad, as slowly but surely as a lotus grows, it breaks more and more of its environment apart. This can even be seen in the outdoors with the World Lotus, the largest lotus flower in the entire game, as its size is beginning to shatter the Doors world, leading to the formation of cracks in the outdoors as well as other floors such as the mines, which expose the vacuum. This in and of itself is not already good, but what's even worse is that these lotus flowers possess a special type of ability. You see, when a lotus grows, it grows a large series of interconnected thorny vines, and these vines absolutely love to control other living beings. Throughout the subfloor, you can face many enemies that are plants possessed by the World Lotus vines, and in a rare room you can even find the vines trying to possess a monument, which is a type of animal in this world. Naturally, these mind-controlling vines are a threat to Grampy and his family, so they've taken steps to avoid the spread of them. For example, the groundskeeper, who is Grampy's son, goes on regular expeditions trying to cut the vines, and Grampy himself tries to plant as much bugleweed as possible, which is a purple flower that has vine-killing properties. The World Lotus, reviving lotuses, and the interconnected series of vines they've created are a serious threat to Grampy and his family as well as the rest of the Doors world, not only due to their mind-controlling abilities, but also because their sheer size is fracturing the environment they are growing in. So, with all of that being said, you'd think Grampy would genuinely want to stop the World Lotus and its vines due to the danger they present. And even though he has taken some precautions against them, this doesn't actually seem to be the case. As I had said, Grampy willingly makes you lotus flowers if you bring him lotus petals. Plants which, as I've discussed, are the root cause of the vine infestation, as they just lead to more vines being developed. Furthermore, Grampy has gone on record several times to really want to create lotus flowers, constantly asking players to bring him more petals so he can create the flowers. It's a really strange behavior, isn't it? So, what's up with that? Well, there are 2 possibilities for what this means. Either Grampy is intentionally or unknowingly helping the World Lotus and its vines spread by providing players lotuses. Let's start by giving Grampy the benefit of the doubt, and he is doing this unknowingly. What evidence is there to prove this man's innocence? Well, actually quite a bit. Besides him actively being against the vines and even taking efforts to stop them, there are pieces of evidence to suggest that he simply has not figured out that lotuses and the vines are one and the same, and that's why he sees no issues spreading the lotuses. For one, as Grampy has stated, the vines attack everything except flowers, which would include lotuses. This actually makes a lot of sense, as the vines are a part of a flower. But it would be reasonable to assume that Grampy took this non-aggression from the vines as a sign that they and lotuses are unrelated, and therefore he can do whatever he wants at the lotuses without having to worry about it affecting the vines, which of course isn't true. Additionally, in one dialogue line, Grampy states how his son the groundskeeper takes care of weeds, whilst he himself takes care of flowers. I view this as utilizing the double meaning behind taking care of something. The groundskeeper can be seen multiple times throughout the outdoors removing weeds, so in this context, taking care of means getting rid of. For Grampy though, given how he has a large basket of bugle weeds next to him, as well as how he gives players lotuses to plant, it could mean he actually cares for flowers and helps them grow, which could be a sign of his ignorance towards how they and the vines are connected with each other. Now, although it does look like Grampy is in the clear as of right now, there's also a load of evidence pointing towards the opposite direction, where he is intentionally spreading the lotuses even though he knows they are causing the vine infestation. So let's explore that idea. For one, in one of his dialogue lines, Grampy asks you if you've seen any large pink lotus flowers nearby. Given how the only large pink lotus in the outdoors, at least before the player arrives, is the world lotus, a plant very obviously covered in vines, this could mean that Grampy is actively searching for the world lotus or any sign of it to likely stay away from it. This is also supported by the fact that a lot of his other messages are warnings to players about threats, or asking if they've seen or been exposed to a threat. However, if you interact with Grampy whilst holding a lotus flower he gave you, he refers to it as the exact same large pink lotus flower he supposedly was on the lookout for, even though he obviously created the one in the player's hand. It's almost like he's giving you a wanted poster for a criminal, then he gives you the criminal himself, recognizing that it is the criminal in the wanted poster, then does absolutely nothing with that information. Additionally, there is also how Grampy has likely made the world lotus itself, given how he's the only character known for making these flowers, and given how he knows they grow quite big, I find it a little hard to believe that he has just never seen one associated with the vines. At the end of the day, by giving you a lotus flower, Grampy is helping spread the vine infestation caused by the world lotus, which not only threatens every life form in the game as the vines can easily control them, but the plant's sheer size is tearing the physical world apart, leading to the exposure of the vacuum. As to whether or not he is doing it purposefully though remains a mystery. Sure, Grampy isn't out to kill you immediately upon looking at him, much like every other entity in the game, but his actions are prolonging and helping the life of the vines he and his family are trying to get rid of due to how dangerous they are, and that makes him one of the true villains of Doors. I'm sure one day we may confront Grampy about this in a future update, but as it stands, this one old man is slowly but surely killing the game through his behaviors. So, with all of that being said, let me know in the comments what you think of this rather odd theory, as well as if you believe Grampy is innocent or guilty, and if he's spreading the world lotus's influence intentionally or not. Just keep in mind he is spreading it. It's just we don't know if he's doing it on purpose. And thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.